Welcome everybody to the Case for Public Works Culture podcast. I'm here with Nick Ager, Public Works Director in Rosemount, Minnesota. Good to be with you.
Tom.
We just went for a tour of your facility. I want to talk a little bit about what's happening here in Rosemount, what you're doing. You have a long history for how young you look. You've been in the public works world a bunch of years, like I want to say 22, 23 or more?
It's actually my 30th year
30th.
in public service this year, if you count my internships.
Wow, would you start when you were 12?
A little bit later than that, but yeah, I was still a teenager.
Wow. Well, you certainly have a strong history in public works, and I'm curious about what cities you've worked in, and which jobs were most formational for you as a professional. I know you grew up in White Bear Lake, I believe, not far from where I live now, but you're here in Rosemount. What from the different cities you've been in, name them if you would, and just share a couple of highlights. What was formational?
Well, and I have to start there in White Bear Lake, the town that I grew up in. As I suggested, I started my first job in public service for the City of White Bear Lake in 1996, and I began initially helping out with the building department, just some office clerical type of duties, but and I did this on a full-time basis during the summer and worked part-time while I was still going to school. And one summer I was asked by the engineering department to assist with some survey staking on a reconstruction project that they were in the middle of. And I spent a week out there with the engineering technician crew, helping out with that effort and seeing infrastructure work happening right up close and personal.
Cool. Super cool.
In the dirt, and that kind of got me hooked on civil engineering. I happen to have also been going to the University of Minnesota at the time when this happened, and I was not pursuing a civil engineering degree to start out with. I was trying to get a mechanical engineering degree, and not enjoying that all that much, and not being that successful in it. And so this was a very timely twist of fate, if you will, that I got a taste for what the civil engineering world was all about, and I decided to change my major the ensuing fall, and really have never looked back. So, you talk about a formational moment for me, and I can trace just about everything back to that summer experience. It was pivotal.
Isn't that great? We need to get our young people into experiences like that to bring them into public works and into the trades. That's so great that happened to you. It's really fortunate. And we just got a tour just today of your whole facility. This is seriously, the room we're in now is the nicest room I've ever been in city government, and I've been around city government 25 years. This is primo. You were a key part in developing all of this. Share a little bit about this facility here in Rosemount and what else you've been working on for development. I know you've been active. Rosemount, I believe, is the fastest growing city in Minnesota, or one of the, if not.
Yes.
But share a little bit about that if you would.
Well, I arrived here to the position I'm currently in, Public Works Director, in 2021, and throughout the job application process, the position posting for this position, among the key items that were going to be in that person's purview was being a big part of building this police and public works campus that we're in. And that was enticing for me. I was in a very similar role for the city of Hastings leading up to this point, and I had worked there nearly 19 years by the time this opportunity came forward. But it was a moment to try to explore some new things and get different project experiences, leadership experiences, career development, etc. Under my belt, and saw that, hey, they're going to work on a brand new facility that would be crafted to the 21st century needs of public works departments. As you said, very rapidly growing community. We added 5,000 some odd people in just the last handful of years since I've been here, and we're projected to keep growing. So being an instrumental part of formulating the design and layout and just project management experience for something like this was very enticing for me, and so jumped into that immediately. Essentially, we began our design work just within a few months of me beginning the position here, and that led to start of construction in 2023, and we moved in late 2024, and here we are. It's hard to believe we've been in the place for nearly a year and a half, but very intense workload. I definitely didn't do this all myself. I want to start with that. It was project management wise, it was a kind of a triad of myself, our city administrator, and a police chief. But we also brought in a number of staff along the way to influence design choices and get their eyes on layouts and inform the whole process so that we were keeping their day-to-day livelihood and operational needs in mind. So nobody ever does anything big alone, and this is exactly that. We had to utilize the efforts, ideas, and inspiration from a whole bunch of people along the way.
You must feel like proud parents a little bit, maybe, the three of you and the many others. I know it's not a one-person show, but you certainly played a key role, obviously, and I can feel your excitement with the tour. How many total square feet is the facility? And what's unique partly is it's police and public works, and the same police is there, public works is there. How many square feet if you count all that?
The entire campus is 160,000 square feet.
160,000 square feet.
That's just the main building itself. We have some outbuildings and other items that are on the site too. But
for a modest-sized suburb that's growing very quickly. But you're making it very hard for others to treat Public Works as the redheaded stepchild, Nick, and I congratulate you, because I work with a lot of cities and it's a frequent complaint. We don't have respect, we don't have facilities, or we don't get the money, and you guys have really achieved a great thing here, and it's gonna be good for the people of Rosemount.
Absolutely. I think this is a primary example of the level of support that we have from the community for the services that Public Works provides. They recognize its importance. We may most of the time fly under the radar a little bit, but we're doing the things that day in and day out, to borrow a phrase from one of my colleagues, make normal happen.
Yes.
You probably heard that. It's
Mark
day-to-day
Ray,
life.
I believe. It might have been Mark Ray or others too, but that's a great
day-to-day
phrase.
life in Rosemount or any other civilized community wouldn't be what it is without Public Works up and down the line.
Yes. Well, this is exciting, and you clearly are a person with good leadership skills. How do you see leadership and culture coming together? How have you noticed the impact that you've made and others in your circle have made through your leadership, through your communication skills, through how you treat other people, and how that relates to this kind of development that you're making? How does all that connect to culture? Because that's really a prime interest of mine, is how leadership and communication shapes a culture. You guys are clearly shaping a first-class culture here, I think, in Public Works. Plenty of room to grow, and I'm sure you'll say we're not perfect, but how do you see your leadership and communication helping create healthy, strong work culture where normal can happen and fewer problems can happen?
Well, I think it all stems from community support to begin with, but right at the top with the folks that are our elected officials, our city council, who make the hard decisions to fund things like this. And I didn't, we haven't gotten into the weeds too much yet on the project details, but this was a $57+ million project. And the discussion on it took around 20 years for it to become reality. There were ups and downs in between, and hot and cold periods of support, and they have to have the wherewithal to put their name on the line and make those tough decisions to provide the resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so that comes into play very heavily with not only a facility like this, but supporting day-to-day operations that we have. That in itself makes jobs for people in leadership positions like myself that much easier when we know that they will be behind most of the things that
Mm-hmm.
you feel are need to be addressed with
Mm-hmm.
your day-to-day operations or your capital improvement planning,
Mm-hmm.
and they know that your objective is to provide top-level service to the community,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's enabling stuff for us in our roles, and then I think that just cascades down through your day-to-day approach with your staff.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to be more open and
Mm-hmm.
supportive of ideas that they might bring forward, and strive for the things that might be grassroots effort from your frontline staff or mid-level staff that they feel are important as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not always able to do everything. You know, a common phrase I like to use, just because of the day and age we're in with near constant demand for more. Public Works is one of those departments that we can do almost anything, but we can't do everything, at least not all at once.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to be strategic about it. We have to
Mm-hmm.
assign priorities.
Mm-hmm.
We have to plan,
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of things that you may have to park an idea for a while, or work over a long period of time
Mm-hmm.
before it becomes fruition.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the more open and casual communication style, lightheartedness in the office space or in your interpersonal interactions with staff goes a long way towards just the confidence you have in each other and level of comfort, and then that permeates to you know, from interactions I might have with first level supervisors on down to frontline work. That they just it doesn't allow tension to build. It keeps people, you know, feeling good about where they're going with the work that they're doing, and so on. So I you know, it's a whole myriad of things that go into culture, and we had a good thing going here when I walked in. I'm not going to say that I transformed anything completely. I'm just building upon what's there, and you take it another step further and keep advancing. You know, incremental improvement. It doesn't all have to be done in one day or 1 week, 1 year, whatever. It's just making progressional steps along the way, and if you find a formula that works and gets people, you know, on board the bus, then you can do a lot of great things together.
Sounds like it's a combination of community support, a lot of years of quality public works services and delivery of services, and you know, and then personal skills, keeping things lighthearted, keeping the greasing the skids of communication and relationships. But I'm also guessing there were hard times and tough moments and lessons you've learned. I don't know if you're willing to share any here today, but I'm curious, where were the bumps in the road for you, or what were the hard moments, or what did you learn that others might learn who are trying to do something similar?
With this specific project?
Yeah, with this specific project.
Well,
yes.
As I mentioned, we did involve a lot of staff input along the way to help shape the scope and the features and the things that we were striving to do here with the facility. But we also have parameters and limits, and it's great to get the level of financial investment support from the decision makers, but you don't have a blank check either. So there were a number of value engineering type steps that we had to do. One, just kind of starting at the core of it, was going from what we had in pretty woefully undersized facilities for our operation at the time to what we have now. Space was paramount. interior space for storage, for staffing and growth in both areas, because we're so rapidly growing, and we don't want to have to come back and ask for addition after addition, outfitting after outfitting, for some time. So that space needs reign supreme, and sometimes that is going to run up against having a specialized piece of equipment that you might have wished you had, or a certain configuration of a space. An example that comes to my mind was covered bulk material storage bins, which are kind of in our backyard. Totally valid idea. You keep the ice and snow off of piles of sand or gravel so that they don't turn into big blocks of ice. Yes, that's something that could pay a dividend, but when you're weighing that against having your ideal amount of interior garage space for fleet storage, you're going to have to make a value choice there, and so we left that off for now. Not to say that it couldn't be added on in the future, but there are always trade-offs, and our team fully recognized that. I went into this whole thing introducing the project to our department staff, saying, not everybody will get everything that they want, including this guy, pointing at myself. It's just the reality of these things, and if you're upfront about it, it really, I think people can gain an understanding from the very beginning, and there's not going to develop any sort of bitterness about decision making that has to happen along the way.
Yeah, framing expectations is so crucial, especially for a project of this size. What other developments? You said you're working on so many developments here. Right. What else, in addition to this gorgeous facility, are you working on that you're excited about or worried about?
All the things, right? It's since I walked in, and even beforehand, we've been in kind of a peak development paradigm here in Rosemount for a handful of years, and one of the initial private developments that was just about ready to get going when I first started was a 2,000 unit subdivision for new housing. Wow. Mixture of different types of units, but I had to kind of bring the final agreements with the developer across the finish line, and then allow that to kick off and continue, and that's probably at a state of being about 70 to 80% completed at this point in terms of housing units being finished in that area. So it's filled in very quickly. That was the largest housing related development, but we've also had some larger scale commercial type projects. There's a lot of awareness out there, and been in the news that we have a data center being built in town. Yes. Complicated project, a lot of technical review. It's the first hyperscale size data center in the state of Minnesota. Wow. So groundbreaking type of project. $800 million being invested by Meta.
Wow. How many megawatts is it?
I don't remember that offhand. I get asked a lot more about the water consumption side of it, which was something in itself that was a challenging conversation all along the way. There's a lot of maybe misconceptions might be a strong word about it, but a lot of folks tend to get attached to information that is about projects that have been done in the past. And the data center world is evolving very quickly in terms of technology used to cool these facilities. But, and we've been talking about this a lot lately, when that project first came in, projected water demands were numbers that we just could not get our heads around, felt very uncomfortable about from a infrastructure system capacity standpoint, as well as the a political standpoint and public relations standpoint. And through numerous conversations about our concerns over that, we feel pretty strongly that shaped the way that they approached the design of their facility to be one that was less water centric. So as a result, the facility that's being built is projected to use a fraction of the amount of water that was initially thought to be. So,
that sounds positive.
Kind of a win-win in that regard. Doesn't mean that concerns go away wholesale. It's not operational quite yet, and it remains to be seen what the reality of having that facility up and running will be, but we're going to be watching that. And we also feel pretty good about if there were any other similar sized projects that come in, that whether it's data center or some other type of large industry, this gave us some framework and boundaries to utilize in terms of how we approach those and interact with developers, to stress that we do have, we hold in very high value water resources here. We're not going to just hand out volumes of water here, because that is a community concern, and it has some real practical operational and infrastructure impacts as well, and we've got to look at the big picture all together when we're considering these.
That's an interesting story. Yeah, the database centers are really, everyone I work with is talking about them, involved in one, worried about one, excited about them. It's very much a hot potato, but it sounds like through some good conversation, you feel better about at least the potential water usage being, you said, a fraction of what was expected.
Correct.
That sounds very positive, and I hope it all works out for you. Is there anything else exciting or worrisome on your horizon, especially as you're growing here so rapidly?
I think just the pace of things. It's with this in this our community has supported growth. Our council has supported growth. We want to have more rooftops in town, population to be able to support other amenities that people want. Commercial enterprises, restaurants or shopping, retail, and then in turn to support through growing tax base, other amenity community assets, park facilities and the like. So it's in a very fast growing community like this, we're not only having to consider all those things and how we get to the finish line with them, but it brings newer demands too, traffic concerns, and just advancement of our infrastructure systems in a timely way. So it's really kept me very running near full throttle most of the time here, with all of the ancillary things that come along with rapid growth, transportation or traffic safety related projects, and working with our partners with MnDOT or Dakota County to bring those things to fruition. Having to do infrastructure studies to figure out how we advance the next trunk water main, for instance, or build another well, or at some point a water tower or water treatment plant. It's just the whole world of public works things that can happen seem to be happening in a very compressed time frame for us here.
Interesting. And Rosemount, for those who don't know, is a large piece of land here in the southeast part of the Twin Cities, you might say. But it looks rural. Driving down today through St. Paul and down here, there's a lot of rural land here. I know you said a 2,000 home or 2,000 buildings are being created somewhere. There's a lot of rural land here too, and that has to present some challenges.
It does. We get a lot of interest from potential developers who come knocking on the door asking about what ifs. They've got a line on a piece they're prospecting, and they ask a lot of questions about infrastructure availability or timing of certain projects that would enable them to get their development in, or just configuration, type of housing product or commercial enterprise that could come in. And so the inquiries keep us very busy too, but you're right, there's thousands of acres left of available land here in Rosemount, and right now, of the entire city, perimeter, we're probably at about a 50% fully developed.
That's what I was wondering, 50%.
Yeah, roughly,
developed.
just looking at a map.
That feels about right, driving through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about what I saw.
Mhm.
Well, it's so interesting, Nick. I want to wrap it up here in a minute, but is there anything else in terms of you either working with a team or alone? Were you done something that felt like a huge home run? I mean, this facility obviously is a huge feather in your cap and everyone who contributed. But is there anything else where you had something go well or had something go bad that you might want to chat about?
A couple of stories on that, and I'll go back to the days I spent with the city of Hastings, and I got to be the city's project lead for the Mississippi River Highway 61 bridge from the city's side. So that was a MnDOT project, but clearly very heavily city involved, from design and staging and aesthetics, utility impacts, the whole gamut. That was going on almost 15 years ago when we began the work on that project, but that was pretty, that was a monumental thing in my career at that point. And then that actually parlayed into being a catalyst for a major downtown street storefront aesthetic and utility upgrades in downtown Hastings and the riverfront as well. So we ended up doing a series of projects over a handful of years to make improvements on Main Street, as well as to our riverfront levee park there, and it's transformed the space into a big attraction for tourists and just local residents to go down there and enjoy.
My wife and I did. We stayed at the fancy hotel right on the river.
Yep.
The Confluence. The Confluence Hotel. Gorgeous place. You contributed to all that.
I helped out a little bit with that one. That was primarily a community development led project, but that was an old Hudson sprayer factory.
They did the sprayers.
And it was a 100-year-old building, give or take.
Yeah, it's quite a building.
City bought it, and it sat for a while plans were being formulated by a private investment developer to transform it into the hotel feature now. But they don't make buildings like that anymore. So it was a great opportunity, riverfront location.
It's cool. We're going back because I understand they have concerts and things on the lawn right in front of the river and that gorgeous backdrop of that building. So amazing. You've been part of a lot of great things. Nick, any final word from you here?
Well, I just, Public Works and my career in general has taken me to places I could never really think of. Again, going back to the beginning, got that spark of interest for civil engineering, but I didn't imagine it would turn into all of these things that I've been able to get to be a part of along the way. It's you really see it all, especially at municipal government level. It all comes down to that. You're the first line of communication with residents, and to have such a instrumental role in day-to-day life and bringing big impactful projects forward that benefit the community and kind of transcend, that's the most special thing about it, I think. And working as part of great teams to be able to do that, it's just super gratifying and rewarding career path. And I really can't see it any other way now, that switch flipped all those years ago and it led to all this stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's really cool. You clearly are a contributor. I can tell that you are a man who cares about the common good. You're taking leadership. You're taking on big things, and that's interesting, and I think it's laudable. So thanks for giving us time. If people want to find you, where should they look?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. You can definitely look for me there, and my emails on that. And of course, City of Rosemount. The contacts are pretty easy to find there on the city's website.
And you've only given like 70 or 80 tours of the facility.
Yeah, I'm losing track. I'm losing count here.
Are you still giving more tours? More tours?
They'll always pop up as people are considering building their own or
Yeah.
remodeling, we set a good example, and
Yeah.
so we'll definitely cater to that and help them put their best foot
Sweet.
forward.
Well, thanks for the time again.
You're welcome,
Thanks, Nick.
Tom.